right, welcome to Zilla Perspectives. And this is a quick review, my first review rather, on the new TV show featuring Morris Chestnut called Watson. And it is a spin on the Sherlock Holmes story. It is a further story, I guess, kind of a revamping of the Sherlock Holmes story, furthering going on with Dr. Watson, which in this story, Morris Chestnut is playing Dr. Watson, who becomes an actual doctor, still with his investigative paralysis. Also, Sherlock Holmes ends up going into, as the series starts, actually, Sherlock Holmes is fighting this mysterious figure, Moriarty, and they end up falling into looks like to be a rushing stream. Watson, Morris Chestnut's character, jumps in after him. Then, of course, he bumps his head or whatever, finally gets fished out of the water. Sherlock Holmes ends up passing in the ordeal and leaves Watson and another gentleman a lot of money, and then also wants Watson to become an actual doctor. So with that, he also buys a clinic for Watson to basically run, and then they fast forward, do a time jump into Watson's life after he comes back from the injuries that he sustained falling into the whole rushing water and waterfall ordeal. And he has a certain I guess a condition that he's self-medicating of from his fall off this waterfall. And he had, I guess, a concussion and some kind of trauma. So he relives certain things from time to time. So the other thing about it is he has an ex-wife, and they don't overplay that. But it's part of the story. She's actually a surgeon that obviously has kind of been retired, but she helps run his clinic or his hospital that Sherlock Holmes left for him. So it's a very interesting start, and that's how the basic premise is. Okay, so I got cut off. Basically, that's the premise. So he's a doctor. He has an ex-wife that's right on the scene with him, and so that's how it kind of is working. So he builds a team of people that he kind of puts together, different attributes that he is looking at. It's kind of has the feel of the NCIS, those kind of shows that you have seen on CBS before. So there are very familiar attributes of this particular show. However, Morris Chestnut definitely delivers. But the rest of the show and where the storylines are going is definitely a lot different than some of your typical shows. So especially that you see on CBS. So you might see a certain aesthetic when you go into the like their briefing room, into their offices or whatnot. It might feel a little bit of Hawaii Five-O-ish, NCIS-ish. However, don't let that catch you up, because it actually is a good show so far. The writing isn't as expected as you would think, having the aesthetic. So I would say maybe give this show a chance, because from what I've seen so far, within the first episode, it's a well-written episode. The actors that they have picked for this episode, it looks like they have a pair of twins that they play two analysts, I believe. And so they're like investing. It's kind of hard to put a finger on what their team is actually, because they're doctors, but they're also investigating cases and whatnot. So it's definitely a new premise as it comes down to, I guess, solving a crime or solving an issue. It's taking medical issues and kind of fusing cop drama into that without it being somebody being like necessarily deleted or anything like that. It might be in the first episode. It was about these two women who thought that, well, they knew they were related and they had some disease, but the disease that they thought they had would have only been by way of hereditary. So it needed to be family, close familiar ties. So as they thought they were cousins, they found out that they were actually sisters. And then they actually did not have the original disease that they had. However, the other disease that they do end up having ends up being one that requires them to have the same father. So as it turns out, they had the same father, and that's kind of how the story goes on that first episode. But it's showing you the investigative nature of solving a medical emergency. And I haven't seen anything like that before. So for me, I would say that this show is definitely offering something different. And I would say and advise anybody, give it a look. So my first review is a positive review because it's well written. The concept is definitely creative while using the Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Watson plot line and the base. The concepts of this just are, I'm impressed, actually, to say the least. Like I said, some of the aesthetics that you might see might just be so reminiscent of other sets on the CBS past shows. It might kind of give you a feel of, like I said, the original NCIS. Almost like the three major NCIS shows. It's kind of a combination of that with Hawaii Five-0. But, of course, with Morris Chestnut bringing a different premise. And I guess for the ladies, he actually takes his shirt off for in the first episode. So, you know, they're using him. I guess he's the new Allstate man, as we say. So they are definitely going with Morris Chestnut, and that's good to see a brother from America actually get his due on a major network. You know. So props out to Morris Chestnut and all the writers over there at CBS for making a black man the star of the show. And he's not the sidekick. He's not, he's the boss of what he's doing. His sidekick is a white man. And then his team is made up of various people. So it is something I would say give a good eye to. So that's just my 2 cents on this first review of the show called Watson. So with that being said, please give this video a like, share this out if you will. Let everybody know about this channel. This is Zilla Perspectives, where we are pretty much talking about everything else, not politics. So with that, hopefully y'all have a blessed day. Peace.